The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show. Brought to you with Levi Solicitors. 10% discount, as always, on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Down with you with Michael and with Rob on the weekly show this time. TSB Plus, by the way, quick reminder, you can get extra videos and podcasts every single week. This week, half an hour of bonus material from Alan Sutton. You may have seen the two-parter that we did on your feed. Talk for ages. Had a great time just finding out about Wilco and the transition into George Graham. Never quite got far enough down the road, did we?
We'll get him back. Yeah. There was a lot more to come.
There is, and we got a bonus half hour of material which you can find on the TSB Plus feed. We got the inside story of what happened with Thomas Skuravi, which is one of those fabled pre-Thomas Brolin 1990 signings. There was a lot of mythology built up around that about potential injuries and gangsters and stuff like that, and Sotty clears it all up for us on that. And kicking off this week as well, Propaganda Extra, the bonus bits of propaganda that we didn't have time to accommodate on the main show, make it over into a little bonus show there, so check that one out. thesquareball.net/plus for details. Part one of the show then is where we go through the latest Leeds United news, and the big headline news from the last week is Adam Forshaw's injury, out for the rest of the season. Fractured his kneecap in training, which sounds quite painful. You have dicky knees, don't you? So talk us through it.
I've not fractured my kneecap. I mean, if I fractured my kneecap, they said he's going to be out for 6 weeks, I'd just assume that was it for me.
Yeah.
I'd just be, so we'd be back in 6 weeks. They'd be like, nah.
They'd just be the vet would pull the curtain out, wouldn't they?
That's it. I'm retired. That's fine. Yeah,
to the glue factory for Normanton.
It's another new injury for Forshaw, isn't it? But, I mean, truthfully, did we expect him to play as much as he has this season? I didn't.
Or be as good as he has been.
No, he has been great, and it's a real shame we're not going to get to see him alongside Calvin Phillips in our new shiny penis formation.
I mean, it was a massive relief that it was only 6 weeks, because a mate texted me the news and it was like, oh no, Forshaw's done here, isn't he? Like, another massive injury. Is he going to get back from this? And then it was, oh no, he's only 6 weeks. Oh,
is that all?
That sounds all right.
It's reassuring that it's kind of it's just an impact injury, though. It's not presumably anything underlying, is it? Like, his injury was out forever. Was one of those ones where they could never get to the bottom of it, whereas hopefully this is just a straightforward shattering of the kneecap.
Well, I feel like a shattering of the kneecap would be worse than maybe just like a hairline fracture.
Yeah,
let's say.
I mean, 6 weeks suggests it can't be that bad, because even if you break, when I broke my arm was about 10. I think that was like 6 weeks of pop, and that wasn't.
I remember this. I'm guessing here a little bit because I'm not a surgeon, despite my obvious skill in the field. Open it up. Bit of gaffer tape on there, bit of glue. Job's a good one.
People are sick of experts, Dan. Have a go at it.
Yeah, I reckon I could.
Matt Letitia would probably consider himself to be an expert on this.
It does make you think, doesn't it? I'm gutted with the news that my season's over after an unfortunate injury in training, but since my return, I've loved every minute this season and can't wait for the next already. Thank you for all your messages and support.
Is that your Adam Forshaw?
That's me.
Okay. Yeah. What's Forshaw said, etc.
Yeah.
Marsh wants him about, though, doesn't he?
Yeah,
which is nice. I mean, and he was around.
Is he in the leadership group?
I think he does get mentioned among.
He's quite a grown up, isn't he, relative to the rest
of the squad dads, aren't they? I like to call him Cooper and Dallas and that.
Yeah, he's like the same age as Zaha, isn't he? Just to go back to having slated him. Look at Adam Forshaw. What a grown up he is.
And he's noble, isn't he?
Exactly. You wouldn't want Zaha about, would you, if he was injured? Just send him off to cry somewhere in a corner. But yeah, he was around during the sort of promotion as well, wasn't he? Forshaw. You got the feeling he was kept around for that as well. So he's obviously a nice lad.
Telling everyone they're going to romp it or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure the squad weren't that pleased when he said that.
Let's hope he has similar confidence for this end of season.
So they want him to be in the hotel, to be in the pre-game meetings, to be there before the match, to make sure that he had an impact on the preparation. That's pre-Watford Marsh was talking about, wasn't he? I believe in leaders.
He has been one of the few things to enjoy about this season, for sure. There's not been a lot to kind of love about this season, but I think we were all at the phase with him just feeling desperately sorry for him as a bloke, just having to go through all this shit, and for him to come back and just really embrace it and be really, really good, like so much better than I expected. And he seems to come back as like a slightly different player. I never seem to remember him sprinting about the pitch as much as he has been this year. But it was a massive boost to our midfield when he got back.
Yeah, definitely. It's been nice to have him back. I dare say Andrea Radrazani has been pleased to have him back as well, given his tweets to that effect earlier in the season. But the worthiness of that particular tweet will be judged, I guess, in another 4 weeks when the season is over, won't it? Which brings us on to relegation watch, actually. 3-horse race, are we calling it 3-horse race? Us Everton and Burnley, we are keeping relegation. I haven't flirted with the idea of getting rid of it.
We definitely need to keep it.
I want to say, just for the record, that was just being tongue-in-cheek, by the way, because it was always going to go the distance, wasn't it, this one?
Well, it wasn't. If Burnley hadn't won these 2 games, you'd be feeling pretty safe still, wouldn't you?
I mean, well, what's the gap to Everton now? Is it 4 points?
Yeah, that's not very many.
It's still
a game in hand.
It's a couple of wins still, isn't it? They've got a game in hand, but it's still a couple of wins for them to overtake us, or a win and 2 draws, and then they've got to match us and outdo us for the rest of the season. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be squeaky, I think, isn't it? But I think it's just time to put the big boy pants on, isn't it? Really. Don't you agree?
What does that look like?
Well, just like stop crying about it. We are where we are. See what happens. No,
I feel like crying about it. Even if I'm going to do it, I'll do it quietly though.
Yeah, I don't
need to.
I think the most disappointing aspect for me was because I don't really like a lot of the Premier League. This season is showing, and I know like Moscow mentioned this when I said it before. It's like we don't like losing, but you do a lot of losing in the Premier League anyway, don't you? And as we were saying over on Propaganda with the Palace fans, they found that actually they've enjoyed being about the same level in the table this season as they were last season. But it's been a lot more entertaining because the football's been nicer to watch. So you do get used to losing games, but you can lose games nobly. I think that's the thing. And it's just been a bit crap this season. But I know that all our ambitions and our future rests on us being in this division, and I want us to stay up. But is the Championship more fun?
No.
It's so long.
It's awful.
It's too many games. It's horrible.
It's the worst place in the world.
We will, if we go down, we'll have to come back and pretend that it's fine.
Yeah. And we should say at this point as well, because somebody was asking me, like, given the way that we feathered our nest with Brentford earlier in the season, that they could send us down on the final day, we should stress at this point that if that happens, we will just double down on all our previous opinions.
Correct.
And we will be right.
I will be writing a Frank Lampard-style letter to the Premier League to suggest that they relegate Brentford instead of us because they don't deserve it.
They'll go down next season.
They simply don't deserve a place based upon many, many things. I'll make some calls about Thomas Frank, which will see him out of action for a while. Mm-hmm. And then...
what will you say?
I've not decided yet.
Right. What will the general thrust of it be?
That's for...
Is that a future show?
That's for the Premier League to deal with, I suppose.
Right.
When the time comes.
Well dealt with.
But yeah, I will not change my opinion. No. We deserve to be in this league, even though they appear to have 6 points more than us.
Yeah, and people will say, well, that's a very entitled point of view, Michael.
Correct.
Yeah. Good.
I'm not entitled about everything, but Brentford, come on. Come on.
Are we saying that Norwich and Watford are basically gone at this stage? Because what's the gap there? Watford is...
I feel like Dean Smith every week talks
9 points.
It feels like when they've been obviously down for about 3 weeks, he's kept going, I know we need to win more games than we've won in like 2 seasons of the Premier League, but we could win 6 games on the bounce or whatever.
Well, they've got their 10 points to make up and an inferior goal difference, so effectively 11. So you're now talking with 5 games left, they need to win 4 of them and hope that Burnley...
Them and Watford are not staying up.
Lose everything.
No.
So they're gone, are we saying?
Yes.
I did see it on Twitter at the weekend, again with Dean Smith sort of trying to be optimistic or whatever, and their fans kind of going, but Dean, like, it's sort of your job, this, you know. You can't just hope that he's going to get there.
And what happened to the post-Farker bounce as well?
Nothing.
I do hope he comes back. I really want Daniel Farker to. If he comes to Burnley,
he can't go to Burnley.
That would be the marriage made in heaven.
He cannot go to Burnley.
Why not?
It just wouldn't suit him, would it?
Why?
Because it's... I don't know. His light and airy manner wouldn't fit.
You don't think? Is it a bit more industrial there?
They need grit. They can't go from the grit of Deitch to... I mean, who's even in charge at Burnley now? Ben Mee and some other people.
It's Michael Jackson, isn't it? Is the name. It's the under-23s coach. It's stuck in my mind for obvious reasons. But yeah, we didn't... and this is another point, actually, about talking about relegation watch. And I hadn't thought about this until Moscow mentioned it in one of his recent articles on the website. So go find that one, whichever one it is, about them potentially doing something stupid between now and the end of the season by appointing somebody else. Because they're talking about an interim manager to see him through to the end of the season when it seems like they've had the bounce now, and yet they might then undo that by putting somebody else in. Because I just feel like, I just hope and feel like maybe they might plateau. I
mean, they likely will. I know they've got an easy run of games, but they played all these teams earlier in the season and were still in the bottom 3. So they obviously are not a margin better than these teams. They've just had a good little run at the moment, and I think they've been fairly fortunate to be playing those teams cut adrift in mid-table who were not really arsed, like Southampton, who we played and didn't beat, and Wolves, who we convincingly beat. Yeah. Oh, I was never in doubt that result. So, I mean, they've done quite well on that.
It's only a couple of weeks since they were losing to Norwich, isn't it? And it's one of those things where if you lose to Norwich, it's like having 17% possession. You just think, well, you're not trying, are you? Like, you shouldn't be allowed to stay here if you're doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, they will drop points between now and the end of the season. We just have to hope that it's fewer points than us.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of Leeds fans are kind of almost talking ourselves into being relegated already. But our run of games is essentially the same as Everton's. Yeah. And we've got a 4-point start on them. So,
albeit with a game.
No, a 5-point start. Yeah. 5 points, is that right? That seems too good.
Yeah, it was 4 points, but it's been extended to 5. Yeah, we should have said that because it's a win and 2 draws to get level with us.
Obviously, our goal difference is shot to shit as well.
But that said,
never mind. This weekend we may improve it.
Yeah, but they're on -21, so it's not completely out of sight. All they need to do is get a few heavy beatings. Yeah, which might happen.
Possibly. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Everton fans are saying they're down as well. So who can be the most miserable?
I do wonder. I mean, Villa's fans don't seem very pleased at the minute either, and they do have a game in hand which would see them up to like 40 points, 2 games in hand actually on the teams above them, but they're not in a particularly hot streak at the minute. I wonder if they're just glancing over their shoulder a tiny bit. Because if that was us, we would be.
Another thing is another win sorts it for them, and they've got 6 games left. You have to imagine they'll get to it. And also, I think 37 is probably just about enough to keep you up anyway.
So are you saying that we need one more win then out of our remaining 5 games?
We need 2 more.
So they need one. They need
Villa are safe on 37, but we need at least 40. That's the way I'm viewing it, and that's how the logic works at this stage.
Do you think where do you think we'll get to, Rob?
I mean, like I was saying in propaganda, I'm sort of just refusing to acknowledge it and convincing myself everything's fine. So like I was away last week and briefly I just switched off from everything and then briefly took one look at Twitter and saw Burnley were winning, and that just sent Leeds fans absolutely mental. And I thought, I don't need to look at this. It's just better off not knowing. And I've got home and we're not in the relegation zone. We've got a 5-point buffer, so it's fine, right? It's fine, yeah. Yeah. I'm sort of looking for other people to reassure me, but looking to Leeds fans for reassurance.
One of the things that sprung to mind, actually, I didn't realise until I laid this out on the sheet here, was the way that the fixtures fall as well. So we've got 4 fixtures, and then they've got Everton and Burnley have got their spare games after we play Brighton in that final midweek. I just thought hopefully we can get to the Brighton game, having got something out of one of these 3 games coming up, beat Brighton, know that we're safe, and then we can just enjoy the last week of the season.
I am terrified of getting to those final 2 games and it being, we really need to win these.
And we don't do well against Brighton, do we?
I was going to say we don't really do well when it's that sort of must win. We need to win.
Although I think we've got it within us to grind out stuff when we need to, and we're certainly grinding at the minute, aren't we?
I mean, to go back to the comparison with Burnley's fixtures, those games are going to be completely meaningless for Brighton and Brentford, aren't they? So that's got to be good, hasn't it? You'd rather be playing Brentford on the last day than Everton, for example.
Yeah.
When you've got a team, or Man City or someone who also needs to win. So
now on that final day, they are like Burnley have got Newcastle at home, who are objectively a better team than them. Now they've got Forshaw striker Chris Wood, and they've got Arsenal away of Everton. So
at one point, that was looking like it was going to be a
relegation decider.
A decider on the last day of the season. Newcastle are now 9th.
Yeah, well, we've got Man City this weekend, which we'll preview in the next bit. Burnley are away at Watford. They're overdue a home winner, Watford, aren't they? And Burnley went to Norwich and messed it up. They're going to go to Watford and mess it up.
Watford don't look interested.
They will.
I've got
They'll
to
win
say.
this one. And Everton will obviously lose at home to Chelsea.
You'd hope so.
Frank Lampard cares too much. So it's fine this weekend.
I'm really looking forward to not having to watch Burnley and Everton games because they're terrible.
We are as well.
That's true as well.
But we've got to watch Leeds.
But I'm invested in that, so I care. Whereas watching Richarlison go down with a head injury when he's just headed a ball, not when the ball kicked at him, he just headed a corner clear and went down with a head injury, and Gordon falling about every 2 minutes. It's painful. It's absolutely painful to watch.
Well, 538.com, we've been leaning on their projections over the last few weeks. So they, if you're not aware of it, they run an algorithm. It's called the SPI. I think it's like Sports Performance Index, and they run like 20,000 simulations of a season, and each game gets weighted in favour of one team or another. So they've run their algorithm, and off 20,000 seasons, they reckon we've got an 18% chance of staying up. Now, last week, it was an 18% chance of going down, beg your pardon. Last week it was 10%. So things have closed up a little bit, but it's still, 82% chance of staying up. Because there's 2 teams below us who are also duking it out.
Yeah, ours has moved, 18 to 10. Everton have gone from 54% to 32% and switched with Burnley. So they now are looking...
So they've gone up, their chances have increased a huge amount. So there's more than a 1 in 2 chance that Everton will go down based on...
So it's been a moderately bad week for us and an absolutely terrible week for them, according to this.
Yeah.
But then, if this was changed week to week, can we trust it? Surely if it was such a good model, it would stay the same.
Well, the model has us finishing 16th, Michael, on 38 points. So it reckons we will accrue another 4 points from here.
Yeah, that's that puts us in the Villa kind of territory, doesn't it? And I did declare them safe.
I feel like Everton aren't going to go down just because football isn't that nice and kind. Like that is what should happen, because it would be by far the funniest outcome.
It would. But, that would be, if we get to the end of the season having endured this, and let's face it, we're all going to exhale, aren't we? If we stay up, whenever that may be, we'll be like, oh, thank God that's happened. Thank God this is over. We'll get to laugh at somebody, if it's not us. That would be the perfect outcome, really. And it is petty, and people say, oh, Frank Lampard, he's a twat. Come on, isn't he?
He's dreadful.
Yeah. As seen by the letters to the referee people. Anyway, so that's relegation watch. We're basically, so the too long didn't read version of that is, please can we stay up? Isn't it?
Just stop winning other teams, please.
Yeah, and they won't win loads.
We can do without you winning, Burnley.
They won't win loads, but let's hope that we do, and hope that something gives over the next few weeks that we don't expect to happen. So something happens that's nice. Like a repeat of the Viduka at Arsenal moment. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? You'd like that. Anyway, to the 23s, we broke the Premier League 2 attendance record. So there's that. That's the real quiz.
That's good season.
And did you watch it?
No, I was on holiday. So
I've seen the highlights.
Where were you, Rob?
I was also on holiday.
You were also on holiday. Fucking middle of the season, you lazy we took an early lead against Man City via Matteo Joseph, who looks like a good prospect, doesn't he?
He's been good.
He looked happy, didn't he, when he scored?
He started to get into the team a bit more now, and he's scored a few good goals. So, that January transfer window, everyone was miserable about.
Their keeper should have been sent off as well for Clarence Somerville. That was a clear red card any day of the week.
You would think so. I can only assume the referee let him off because he's a child or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, they beat us.
Well done to the women as well, who went to the Liverpool Feds, who I think, have they been promoted now?
Not quite.
Liverpool Feds, but they should get up there, shouldn't they?
Winning this, sorry, would have seen them up. As it is, they've now got to go to the last game.
So we spoiled...
Because Newcastle have games.
Did we spoil their party?
We did.
Get in.
Which is good. And I think Newcastle have got 2 to play. They've got 1 to play, but Newcastle's game in hand is against Alnwick, who have got 2 points and have conceded like 7 every game.
Right.
So it's...
What's going to happen there?
I think Newcastle are going to win, probably.
Yeah.
So it's going to send it to the last day, which is good.
I bet Jesse, I've just mentioned on the sheet here, Jesse's tour of Yorkshire. I bet Jesse would like Alnwick. Actually.
Probably would.
But he's not strayed outside the boundaries of Yorkshire yet. We've, so far on the tour, York, Harrogate, Knaresborough, Leeds. Which is your favourite?
Leeds.
Yep.
Leeds.
Which is your other favourite outside of Leeds?
Go York.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Nice as York, innit?
Nice pubs and that.
Yeah, but still feel more accessible than maybe Harrogate.
Yeah, Harrogate's really nice, but I just can't imagine. I can't imagine living there somehow.
I don't think I can imagine you living there. What is it about Harrogate that makes you think you won't fit in?
Where to begin? I mean, Danny Mills lives there still, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Me and him could go out for a pint.
You could do your Right Said Fred tribute act in Harrogate.
I'm not sure that's even funny anymore, is it? Right Said Fred tribute act, given they're associating themselves with neo-Nazis and stuff.
I mean, I came in here and saw you two do the same the other week. So, as in a Right Said Fred tribute act, not
we were just singing we were singing Deeply Dippy, weren't we? Because it was at number 1 when we were recording the Match Ball 30. So we ended up having a bit of a sing-song here, which thankfully wasn't recorded.
They were mentioned on Matt Letitia was on the podcast, which had also had Right Said Fred on as well. I think was the other link. Yeah, he's doing a nice tour. He's gone a bit nice though, hasn't he? He's gone to the nice places.
Yeah. About Mother Shipton's Cave there in Knaresborough.
Knaresborough's nice.
Very scenic is Knaresborough.
Knaresborough's nice. It is nice, yeah. But get yourself to the 5 towns that I couldn't remember the other day.
Which is it's Dewsbury.
No, not Dewsbury.
Wakefield, Mordor. Which is the other one?
Go to Dewsbury.
Yeah.
Go to Batley.
Yeah. Brighouse.
These proper places, Jesse.
I'll take him out in Bradford. I haven't been out myself in Bradford in years, but I'm willing to break my duck.
He's such a positive man as well. You know he'd find the good in it.
a real team effort. I need to give a quick plug to this as well. I've been poached by Big Drama, so I'm sorry for being self-indulgent now. But I'm in a 10-part podcast drama. It's got a bit of a Leedsy vibe to it. Why are you rolling your eyes at me? It's been written and co-produced by a guy called Joe Derrick, who's a massive Leeds fan. And it stars Nikolai Coster-Waldau as well, who is genuinely famous. He is billed higher up in the credits than I am. I am about third from last, billed as reporter, but that's not the best character that I play.
How come you, who can do no accents, gets to do? Gets to
What do you mean I can do no accents? I'm good at accents.
Do some?
No. I'm not your performing seer.
I could have done this as Deitch.
You could have done, actually. It would have been great. Before I tell you the character that I'm going to play, I'm just going to say it's out on Audible. Genuine, like, proper thing. This is not some fly-by-night thing. Audible, May the 12th. It's called Radio Man. And I'll give you the billing for it. It says, when a series of gruesome murders leaves a community in despair, a former local radio DJ, not me, decides to start a podcast, again not me, and do something about it. But as his following grows, long-buried secrets from the past resurface, revealing not everyone is who they truly seem. In fact, you should have done that as Deitch.
Not now. You've slagged it off.
Farker? Okay, maybe another day.
But in it,
if
anyone wants to cast it, if anyone wants to commission a Deitch and Farker detective series for
buddy cop duo
for the radio, send me the script.
But I play racist dog owner, who's one of the characters that I play.
Playing yourself then.
Etc. Yes, that's correct, Michael. So I've got a little clip here for you. Tell me afterwards what you think of my acting abilities as racist dog owner. So we've got two young Asian lads who are going door to door with leaflets trying to get casual work, and they come and knock on my door.
My feet kill, man.
It's not supposed to be easy. This is work, man.
Yeah, I just thought, you know, it wouldn't be as shit as this. You do the chatting on this one, yeah?
That's me dog.
Yes! We're just knocking on doors to see if we can do any odd jobs for folk.
No.
Gardening or errands or something.
Nothing, no.
Anything, really.
No!
We got a flyer.
No,
leave with you.
piss off, we're good, thank you.
This is getting us nowhere.
Probably trained his dog to hate on Browns, I reckon.
Another wanker.
There you go, racist dog owner.
He was right, but he was right at the last bit anyway.
Did he use your dog as well?
None of that is true. We should just say very clearly for the record. What do you think of my acting now?
It was adequate.
Yep. Think I'll get an award for that?
No.
I'd like one.
No.
Would you make
No.
me? Would you make me an award?
No awards. Go away.
Yeah, so look out for that then. Radio Man, it lands on Audible on the 12th of May. I'm looking forward to that. I've heard, I've been sent a preview of it. It's really, really good.
Apart from your bit.
It's better than anything I could make. There you go, part 1 of the show done and dusted. Part 2 on the way. Man City preview. We'll pick the week's heroes and villains as well. Stay there.
The Square Ball Podcast.